Hey, Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media, covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, aka Man of the People, here with another report for you with this Carolina Panthers team as they get ready to take on the Atlanta Falcons, another division foe, back-to-back divisional games. This week will be in Atlanta, but today, November the 12th, getting you up to date as the Carolina Panthers get ready for that big matchup. So, as always, got some technical difficulties taking place here. Hold on a second. That doesn't look good. There we go. There we go. That's looking better there. So let's go ahead and do what we always like to do, which is practice highlights. So as always, like to say thank you to the Carolina Panthers for providing these highlights to us so we can share them with you. But everybody loves practice highlights. So let's go ahead and roll the clip. Take a look inside of practice today as the Carolina Panthers continue to get ready. Where's my clip? Where's my clip? Come on now. Why is this going to happen to me on live TV? Where's my practice clip at? We'll do this right here. We're going to get you some practice highlights. Did I find it? Did I find it? What in the world? All right. Give me just a second here. Stuff happens on live TV, such as my practice clip not being where I thought it was. So what I'm probably going to do is go to the injury report and then come back to the practice clip so that we don't waste time, because it's going to take this a second. So let's go ahead and go. Let's go ahead and jump over to the injury report, and then we will come back over to the practice highlights. Sorry, live TV, you get to see some of the mistakes that can happen with a smaller production, but nevertheless, injury report is certainly something that we want to look at as well today. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Here is your injury report for this week, looking pretty, I want to say good in the sense that I feel like it was shorter, but last week it did shorten up as well. But Lathan Ransom showed up on the injury report, safety. He did not practice today, dealing with a hand injury. And I'm going to share some more details about that injury with you in just a moment. We also had linebacker Trevin Wallace. He didn't practice today, and I don't think that's a surprise based on him, leaving the game last week with that with that shoulder injury and not returning. But he didn't practice today. And as well as Trevin is going to be out this week. Again, Trevin Wallace will be out this week. Coach said he's week to week. And again, I'm going to go into a little bit more depth about that here in just a second. You also have running back Rico Dowdle. He did not practice due to that quad injury. So that's not a surprise that you're going to continue to rest Rico Dowdle. That injury that he sustained during Green Bay, he was obviously able to play this past Sunday against the Saints. But it's still a long season, still got a lot more games to go, so they want to continue to try to give him rest. Not a big deal with him not practicing today, as it's a day that veterans often do not practice. Taylor Moton usually doesn't practice. He did practice today, but generally a lot of guys don't practice on a Wednesday, and they're just doing something precautionary to make sure they keep Rico at his best. And then you also have Derek Brown, defensive end. He was limited in practice today with his knee. And it was the same knee that he had the issue with, but he said, as Coach Canales said, that that's completely unrelated to the injuries that Derek Brown had before. So here's Coach Canales going a little bit more in depth about the injuries that he's dealing with. Jeez. I just got all kinds of unorganized stuff going on today with these videos. So give me just a second, guys. All right, here we go. Dave on the injuries.
Trevin will be week to week really right now, and the shoulder's aggravated. He's been dealing with some things as you've all seen in games. Wasn't able to finish the game, and we put all of our brains together, and you really saw an opportunity to just try to get him on top of this, get out in front of it, get him back to his full confidence and strength and mobility and all that. So that's Trevin. Lathan injured his hand in the game. had a little bit of a surgical procedure to clean some stuff out, and that just happened yesterday. So today was, we couldn't put him out there in a practice in any way, shape, or form. We'll track him day to day, see if we can get him out there in some capacity tomorrow, and then not sure what his status will be like for the game. It all depends on how this thing heals up and calms down.
So there you have it. Lathan Ramson, his status is going to be, can't say for sure he's going to play with that procedure he had on his hand just yesterday, but he's going to be day-to-day. Trevin Wallace will not be playing, so Claudin Sherrills will be the starting in his place. Now, what they do not know is who's going to be the linebacker that's calling the plays. Will it be Claudin? Will it go back to Christian? Wasn't willing to say that it was going to be Christian today, so to me that says the coach is wanting to have Claudin wear that microphone and be calling the plays as a Mike linebacker is what they call it, or green dot. So we'll continue to see. Now Claudin says he did wear it before, like even though it's just one play, but doesn't feel like it would be anything that is daunting for him, and he's ready to take on that challenge, do what he needs to help out this team as they continue to prepare for the Atlanta Falcons. And then also mentioning, going back to Rico Dowdle that was on the injury report today. Coach said he's going to be out there tomorrow. So there's nothing to worry about there in terms of Rico. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at some practice highlights, which I meant to show you at the beginning. Had some troubles, but we're going to go ahead and show you now some practice highlights from today as the Carolina Panthers get ready to take on this Atlanta Falcons team. So here we're going to get started with what Dave Gettleman used to call our hog mollies, getting in some practice. Cade Mays been your center. Zavala looking to return. Doesn't know for sure yet if that is going to be the case or not for Chandler Zavala, but he's out there practicing. And again, Taylor Moton's out there practicing, which he usually does not practice on a Wednesday, but he's getting it in today nevertheless. And our quarterback, Bryce Young, who we all know is looking to improve upon his performance from last week. Xavier Legette, another person looking to, really a lot of this offense is looking to improve upon that performance from last week. Xavier did not even get any catches last week. Jalen Coker, Bryson Tremaine looking to return as well. Bryson Tremaine was out last week, so that's a positive sign to see him getting in some reps today in practice as well. And here you'll see some of the catches that are going on. This is individual drill, so you'll see saw for a second Rico Dowdle in there. So when players do not practice, they can still get in something on the side individually. They don't count that as practicing. Practicing is when they go into more, team drills or even 7-on-7 type deals, offense and defense, and he did not participate in any of that today. All right, so that'll wrap up our highlights from today's practice, Wednesday, November the 12th. That video, again, is courtesy of the Carolina Panthers, so thank you, Panthers.com, for that coverage. Several headlines came up out of the loss last week. Of course, there was lots of talks about Bryce and the offense, but there was a part where Nick Scourton, a rookie, spoke about it after the game, just saying like things didn't seem right Sunday, just from when they first came to the stadium on game day, and then saying that the practice didn't go well last week. Today, Coach Dave Canales spoke on the fact that his young guy was getting, maybe saying more than he would like him to say. Let me see if I have the clip. If not, I can definitely talk to you guys about it. Yeah, so I did not get the clip, but Dave basically said that you want guys to earn the respect of being able to talk out like that. And though Nick has certainly been doing his part as a rookie, he basically said you just want to be mindful that you want to earn that, and it's not just given to you just because you're here. But overall, things like that, speaking that outwardly about something from a loss, he prefers a team to keep that in-house. Speak about how you may feel about the game but say the things that's more generally spoken about the team as a whole for behind closed doors or for the team meeting. So probably won't hear much of that. But, Nick wasn't the only one that talked about it. He was only rookie, I guess, to talk about it. But Jatavian Sanders talked about it. Ikem Ekwonu talked about it. So I feel like Nick kind of got picked on there because he's a rookie. But nevertheless, we'll probably not hear any more talk like that coming out of this locker room the rest of the season or under Dave Canales' tenure. So let's go ahead and talk about the offense, because I mentioned there, saw a highlight there of Bryce Young getting some throws into his receivers. And there has been a lack of a vertical passing game that everybody notices, right? And T-Mac talked about that today in the locker room.
Sure. I just think we just got to play a good collective offense. Get the run game going, get the pass game going. So, the defenses that play us got to respect everything that we throw at them. So, I feel like just establishing the run game and just doing what we're supposed to do to open up, other things.
So, yeah, what he said. So the problem this week was this past weekend against Saints was that when they started stopping the run, we didn't have anything to do in the run game. So, yeah, the part of what he said is true, and that you got to have both of them playing off of one another. And they weren't able to do that last week against the New Orleans Saints. But they weren't able to get much of anything going last week when they needed to. And so that's something they're going to have to work on. Yeah, I could say it's a collective effort, but it's, the quarterback's the one that's executing the plays, that's making the reads, that's throwing the ball. And you want to see some improvement there from Bryce so that they can have an opportunity. I mean, it's been so well documented at this point from what happened last week. And maybe I say that a little extra because I'm on the Panthers side, but I feel like there's been so many people that have broken down video. There's been the reporter that was here at the stadium calling the game who talked more about it and how they just really dared them to pass by sealing the edges, cutting off the run, which, they sealed the edges in a manner that it allowed the linebackers and others to really support the run really good and stuff the run. And so you would have been put into a situation where throwing the ball is what they were daring you to do, giving you that open. And it was something that Bryce Young was not able to take advantage of. So will he or won't he take advantage of it this week? We'll see. Will the Atlanta Falcons certainly look to take a page out of the book of the New Orleans Saints? Absolutely. I mean, if nothing else, because we just beat the brakes off of them 30-0 many weeks ago. And this is their opportunity for revenge, and it's going to be in their house. And got some video of here we go. Got some video of Claudine Sherrillis talking about the challenges and beating a team for the second time in one season.
You can't look at it like that because, it's a week-to-week business. The NFL is week-to-week. Teams are going to look at what they did the first game. Obviously, it's hard to beat a team twice. So, they're going to look at the stuff they did well and the stuff they didn't do so well in the first game. And we're doing the same thing. So, it's just a whole new ballgame.
So, yeah, nobody's resting their hat on the fact that they shut out the Atlanta Falcons last week. I'm sorry, not last week, many weeks ago. I think it was 8 weeks ago. And that they got to face them this week. Everybody's paid quite a bit of money to play this game each and every week. So expect Atlanta to come with their best. One other thing I want to touch on before I get out here, which is practice. Think about Allen Iverson as soon as you say that, right? Practice. We're talking about practice. Again, Nick Scorton was one of the guys that talked about practice was not good last week. I still feel like this. A bad practice, even a bad week of practice, is not the most uncommon thing to have happen for a football team. And you could say a bad practice affected them, but they still didn't have execution on your passing game. Like, you had absolutely nothing there. That's something that should be able to be picked up a little bit and be better than it was. But so far, and I don't know if you could expect to hear anything else, coaches saying it, players are saying it, that everybody's been responding very well to practice this week. Teteroa said, well, It's only been one day, but, practice was good. So hopefully it'll continue to be well. These guys, I feel, are extremely motivated from that loss that they had against the New Orleans Saints. I feel like we can expect them to bounce back. I'm not saying it's an automatic W down in Atlanta, but I don't feel at all from these guys, from being in the locker room, seeing the attitude, talk with Ashawn Robinson today, and essentially it's like, yeah, all that's washed. All that happened last week, same thing that we do each and every week, 24 hours, you get it out your system. This week we're 0-0. This game coming up is the most important game and is a big game, and that's where their focus is. So I expect this team to rebound and play a competitive game against the Atlanta Falcons down there in Atlanta. And again, like to tell you guys, we'll be down there live. Sunday show, pregame show will be at 11, and then we'll do our postgame show as quickly as we can once that game ends. And let's see if there's a few comments that I can get to before I get out of here. What's up, Rory Blake? Appreciate you tuning in. The way you said the rest of Dave Canales' tenure. Yeah, well, yeah, the rest as in as long as, don't do that. Don't do that. What's going on, Cope Wright? No, I'm not saying. Roy, what are you doing to my words today? I didn't say a pass-a-thon this Sunday. I didn't say that. Brett says, it's either going to be Bryce that goes or Canales that goes or both. We will have to wait and see. I'll touch on that. I don't feel like Dave Canales is going to go because of this season and anything that would happen this season, because I feel like he's doing a lot of the right things. He's not going to be perfect. It's his second year as a head coach. But I certainly feel like he's doing a job where he deserves to continue to do the job. And as far as Bryce, I just don't feel like Bryce is just going to be gone. My feeling and hope is that Bryce gets put in a situation where he knows that he has to earn it. He knows that the organization is trying to make sure they have the best quarterback, and that's their job, right? That's Dan Morgan's job, is to not be concerned about feelings, but be concerned about what's best for the organization as a whole, what Dave Tepper hired him to do and is paying him quite well to do, which is make sure you have the best roster that you can assemble. So I would hope that Bryce Young's position is challenged, and then we'll see how it plays out in a training camp situation. But I don't see him being cut, him being traded, released. I don't see that as the path for Bryce Young. Where are you going to be? I'd love to say hi, Ramba Muse. So in Atlanta, I am going to be on the field doing the pregame show. Will not be outdoors. We do the show outdoors here in Charlotte because we have Rashad from Panther Nation Podcast joining us for the road games. He does not join us. It's just me on the road. So I'll do that game, do the pregame show from on the field. So I think it's technically the visiting team's bench at about the 20-yard line. The home team, behind the home team bench, about at the 20-yard line is where I'll be doing that. So if your seats are on the lower level at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium and you can get down far enough, I'd love to meet you, say hello, even take a picture if that opportunity is there. So appreciate everybody, as always, for tuning in. I'm Chris Jenkins, live from Bank of America Stadium for Charlotte Vibe, covering the Carolina Panthers.